Patreon Q&A number 81, part 2. Part 1 was released earlier today. I still want to thank all 124 of my incredible patrons for supporting me through this very difficult time in all of our lives. I hope that you guys are staying safe out there. And to everyone else listening, there's going to be spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully. Bryan asks, greetings, Shonen Jump. Hope you're enjoying your weekend. Hey, thanks, Bryan. I hope you are too. My first question this week is, who would win between Garou at the end of Season 2, full power, and Atomic Samurai's 3 Disciples, assuming Garou doesn't get a mid-fight power boost? That's a big assumption because he almost always gets it. I mean, not every single time, but most of the time. It's just an inherent power dynamic of him, broken or not, it still exists. Yeah, he would dominate the Atomic's Disciples. Yeah, they were able to defeat Devil Longhair, but he's just way more skilled, probably faster. I think that, I mean, they would put somewhat of a fight up, but it would be like a mid-diff at the most for Garou to take them down, honestly. He would only need to land like 2 or 3 good shots on them. I mean, E-Iron would be difficult, but I don't see Garou faltering at all against them. Even at that point, it's full power Season 2. If Suiryu fought in the Tekken Universe's Iron Fist tournament, do you think he would win it all? I'm not really too familiar with the power scale in Tekken. I have played the games. I've enjoyed them. I didn't play the newest one. And I know that most of like the powerhouses are the bosses and the Mishimas. And I don't know how strong they are, so I don't know how they compare with like Suiryu, who's like a demon level right now. So, I mean, maybe he could win because he's obviously really fast, really powerful. We saw his feats against Saitama. Are the Tekken guys capable of doing stuff like that? Not sure. But I'll say that if that seems like a little too unrealistic for what they're capable of doing, then Suiryu should probably take it, no problem. Austin J asks, howdy Shonen, been a while since I asked anything. Times have been crazy, but I still find solace in your content. Your tireless commitment to the grind is uplifting. Hey, that's awesome to hear, Austin. I'm glad that I could uplift you with the tireless grind, because that's certainly what it is, and I hope everyone else out there can stay on their own individual one. The current arc for My Hero has had me on the edge of my seat. The lives of every major character seem to hang in the balance. Which possible pro-hero death would have the greatest impact on the Class 1A students outside of Aizawa? So, interesting that you said outside of Aizawa. I guess because he's their homeroom teacher, that makes sense. But All Might, who is 90% guaranteed to die at this point, unfortunately, is definitely going to have the biggest impact on not just Class 1A, but everyone. He is the man. He's the symbol of peace. I mean, he was, but he eternally is. He'll always represent that, whether it's like an active one or not. But aside from him, it's definitely going to be Endeavor. I think Endeavor has a good chance of kicking the bucket too. At the end of this arc, we're either going to see the end of the series. That's right. I do think that there's a chance that My Hero could be ending at the end of this. Or we're going to see a changing of the guard, where like Endeavor, All Might, guys like that, they're going to go, and then we're going to have to see like a new generation take over, i.e. Class 1A and 1B, because there's probably going to be a time skip or something, hopefully, if the series doesn't end. But I think the biggest impact is going to be All Might and Endeavor. And if it's not them, then I'm curious to see who it is, honestly, because I don't have any other candidates. It could be anyone, like you said. Crusader Deus Vult asks, Deus Vult, how are you doing on day 7 of the apocalypse? My internet still works, so score. Hey, mine does too, and I'm very grateful for that. Let's hope that it stays online because, yeah, things will get pretty messy quick if that goes down. My first question is, what Asher level would you give Deadpool? He's been able to dodge machine gun fire, battle hordes of ninjas while on the phone, change fighting styles to confuse Taskmaster, dodge an attack from Bullseye. It was a missile. Dodged into a monster truck. Also, his strength is good enough to bench 800 pounds, and he does move a helicopter in the air one time when he's dressed as Spider-Man and moves in the webs in a giant rat. And then you got his healing factor. He's been nuked, shot, melted, and stabbed. I'm going to say a dragon like Zombie Man, but a little stronger. I don't know, man. It's always difficult to really say what Marvel characters are like, especially for me because I'm not too familiar with the comics and stuff like that. I mean, I haven't gone in-depth into them like I have manga, but I am familiar with the MCU. And in the MCU, he's pretty powerful. But we're going off of the comics here. So I'll say, I mean, at the minimum, he's got to be a dragon. Definitely stronger than Zombie Man. Physically stronger as well. 800 pounds is incredible. Like, the current world record, I think, is over 600 pounds, a little over 600 pounds or something. Julius Maddox is the guy of that. Check him out on Instagram at regular strength. But yeah, definitely a dragon for now. But if I write into it, maybe he'd wind up being a god. I mean, surviving a nuke is crazy. Second question. My Mask, Daedra Genos versus Bug God and Royal Ripper. This is just easy for My Mask. He could solo them both. Maybe one shot. I mean, definitely one shot Royal Ripper. And then maybe 2-shot Bug God or something like that. Yeah, my mask doesn't need help from Genos in this matchup. He's powerful enough on his own. And then I don't think Daedric Genos is going to fight Awakened Garou, but he will get kicked by him once he's reduced to a torso. I do think that's probably going to play out the same way. Flashy Flash asks, hey, Shonen, how are you? No, I do not have that sickness, thankfully, and I hope everyone else listening doesn't have it either. My first question is more like a crest. I made a top 50 strongest One Punch Man characters. I hope you could take a look at it. Tell me what you think. So I looked it over, and I mean, it's fine. Obviously, there are some adjustments that could be made. I think you have Silver Fang maybe a little too high. My mask should be higher as well. I mean, you're not really going to be able to please everybody with these types of lists. They're super subjective. And especially when you get into like the 50 range, it's easier to narrow it down to like 15, 20. But when you go into 50, it gets more difficult. And I see, you know, people in the comments are, you know, kind of unhappy with your list. But it's only going to be natural. I would say just make the list for your own amusement. Don't worry about other people's opinions on this stuff. You're never going to please everybody. I can tell you that firsthand. My second question is Overhaul. If Overhaul tried to use his quirk on someone super durable like Darkshine, Boros, Saitama, could he kill them? Will a durability defeat his quirk? I don't think durability really has anything going into Overhaul's quirk. He seems to break it down at like a molecular level. So I don't know why durability would affect that. It seems like he could just do it to anything. As far as I know, there was never any restrictions made to his quirk. It was absolutely busted. So in theory, if he were to touch Darkshine, Boros, or maybe even Saitama, he would be able to break them down. I mean, Saitama is different. He just has overwhelming power regardless of his durability. So maybe just Saitama inherently as a being would be too strong. But, I mean, I assume he'd be able to do it to Darkshine and Boros if he touched them, right? I mean, difficult to say, but I don't think their durability would hinder it. It would be more like force of willpower, maybe something like that. Second question, could Flashy Flash defeat Black S in a fight? So, you have round 1, no Golden S, round 2 with Golden S. Round 1, I don't think Flashy Flash could win, and that's because he hasn't proven that he is able to vaporize Black S like Atomic Samurai can. So, therefore, he wouldn't really have a win condition over Black S, and he would eventually get overwhelmed. Now, until Flashy Flash proves that he can vaporize somebody like that, then he could win. But until then, I'm going to have to give the Black S. He would have a better chance of defeating Golden S because Golden S loses the regeneration. He's more susceptible to death at that point, so he can easily behead him. But also, it's like, is Golden S faster than him? Is Flashy Flash just as fast? Difficult to say. I'll have to wait for the manga to make a decision right now, but I would say maybe it's 50-50 with Flashy Flash and Golden S at this point, maybe. Furukizu K asks, hey Shonen, I just watched your Pluton video. One thing I know about Pluton's durability, it seems that Pluton was stitched together more or less, and it would be possible that he was straight up an undead corpse. This would be fitting to the king of the underworld, but it would also understandably lower his durability compared to Beefcake, who was a giant of pure muscle and bulk, and the fact that it exploded the way that it did could have also been aided by the fact that he was stitched together. Those slabs of skin could easily be broken apart, stretched taut, so that they would be. So do you think that his durability would actually be around mid-dragon, as where its attack potential could be still above dragon, thereby averaging its disaster level only to high dragon? There you go. You got the right idea, Furukizu. That's more or less where I'm going. Like, his durability is lower than what, you know, would typically be of somebody of his level of power, which could be above dragon. I mean, that's crazy scope of damage, obviously, as I pointed out many times in that video. So yeah, I mean, you could say that he has durability of mid-dragon and then that power of above, and it averages out to high dragon. I'm on board with that. My second question is, if an Esper could bend or distort space-time and actually create a black hole as shown feat, where do you think they would be ranked? Yes, black holes in battle manga and anime are very different from black holes in our own reality. They're very nerfed to not ruin the show and the series and the power scale. So it's awesome the way that they do it in battle manga. If they made it more reality-based, it would just ruin everything. But if an Esper could create a black hole like in typical battle manga, they would probably be above dragon. Maybe high dragon at the minimum. That's like an absurd level of power capable of something that I see that like the character God could probably do something like that. Joe D asks, how's it going, Z? Hope you and yours are doing well in this crazy time. I hope you are too, Joe. My first question is, we hear a lot about the ladies. Who do you think is the most objectively attractive, desirable man in the One Punch Man world? Let's go ahead and take my mask, Suiryu, off the table, keep things fair. So I guess it's got to land in the hands of Genos, right? Genos is kind of like pegged as the second to a my mask in the hero world attractiveness, right? I mean, why not? I mean, maybe not personality-wise, but just being attractive. I mean, he's portrayed to be like somewhat of like a K-pop star, right? Something like that. And aside from that, I mean, we could say Blue, the new character, Blast's son, but he's also 16, so don't look too much into it. Second question, I have a theory that Metal Bat only collapsed after fighting Hero Hunter Garou because he was struck by his sister. So my thoughts on this are that if they were to continue to fight, there wouldn't be like a drawn-out fight because Metal Bat would have just killed Garou. Like that when he was like rising from the dead Undertaker style and he was about to slam him in the head, that would have probably popped his head or something like that. I mean, Murata, according to him, Metal Bat would have killed Garou if he connected him with that shot. So there wouldn't have been a strung out fight. It would have just been death for Garou, surprisingly. And I don't think he fell over because his sister hit him. But I think his sister hitting him and Garou going away means that he was letting his guard down. He was basically turning his ability off, fighting spirit. And then once he returned to like his normal physical state, he was already way past his limit. He was spent. So only thing he could do was really fall over at that point. Lil Dolphin asks, hi Z, my first question is, do you think that Blast will be introduced by Saitama fighting Blast's son? And then because his son needs help, Blast will then show up. I think it's going to be something like that. I'm going to make a video on this in the future. I have a pretty good theory as to what's going to happen. At least it's definitely improved from the previous one, but it's more so lining up with it. And I do think that Blue will probably fly too close to the sun trying to take on Saitama, and then it won't go well for him. But I don't think Blast is going to show him up to help him. I think it's going to be after the fact, and Blast is going to be like, oh, Saitama is too powerful. I need to take him out, or something like that. Like anybody who could take down Blue that easily shouldn't be allowed to exist, pretty much. Something like that. My second question is, if King went through the process of turning into a monster, what would this new king look like, and what would his disaster level be? Thanks, have a good week. Hey, you too, Lil Dolphin. So, his disaster level would probably be Wolf. I mean, honestly. Because I don't think, I mean, first of all, his ability, his metal luck wouldn't allow, the aura wouldn't allow him to become a monster, in my opinion. So if he did become a monster, he'd probably lose the aura. I don't know how it would work. Because would he become self-aware of it? If he did become a monster, hard to say. But if he did become a monster, he'd probably just be a wolf. Wouldn't be very strong at all. And he would probably look, I don't know, probably gross. He wouldn't be anything extravagant. He'd probably look, kind of like, I don't know, like one of the tongue stretcher-esque monsters. Like still humanoid, but just like not aesthetic. Mr.Awsome asks, hey, Big Z, you good? You got the message? Yeah, I'm good. I don't think I have it. I hope that you don't either, Mr.Awsome. Anyway, my first question is, if the 7 from the boys were dropped into the One Punch Man universe and the threat level, what would the ranking give, and what disaster level and ranking would you give each member? So I've only seen the first season of the series, and based off of that, it's difficult to like say like, okay, human realistic feats based into the, the super crazy One Punch Man world. So this is what I did for now. I think it's probably accurate. I don't really remember all of the feats too clearly from the characters outside of Homelander. Like Black Noir, I'm a little iffy with. Translucent too. A-Train, I know he's fast. And but other than that, I think this is more or less accurate. Maybe I'm wrong. The next question is, who will win in a fight with Atomic Samurai's Disciples versus Dragon Slayer, Orenstein, and Executioner Smug? Anyway, you rock. Keep up the awesome videos coming. Hey, thank you, Mr. Awesome. You rock. So, in theory, the Disciples should be able to win this because I'm only seeing the gameplay of, this boss level fight. And these guys are not as fast as Disciples. I mean, like, take into consideration E-Iron's speed. It's ridiculous. He was, like, dodging machine gun fire. He was, like, swinging at, like, thousands of strands of hair blindfolded and getting them all. It's like he's way too fast for these characters, or at least what we've seen of them in the actual game. So I'm thinking that he would be able to defeat them because they would basically be moving still compared to how fast he would be able to move around them. Not to mention that he has help from the other Disciples who could just, Okamatachi can just sit in the back and air blast them. I think they could take them. Mr. Toby 1018 asks, what up? This One Punch Man week was lit. Webcomic and manga got me overwhelmed and can't wait to find out what happens next. Do you think we'll see the return of Golden S? I think if we do, he's going to play it smart and even get more stronger than he was, potentially reaching God and playing very close. Platinum S, wink wink. So, we're going to see Black S just return to his former glory. He's going to be just as powerful he was initially at the minimum, But maybe he'll reconsider becoming Golden S or even Platinum S, because this residual Black S that is left was the one that was like, didn't want to be absorbed into Golden S. Golden S was like, just absorb into me. I don't need any other, of you left around. We should all just become one. And then he was like, no, I don't want to do that. So maybe he'll reconsider doing that, and maybe he'll just try to become stronger naturally and just stick to his roots of being, like multiplying and regeneration and stuff like that. But, there is still a good chance he could become Platinum S at the same time. Zombie Man versus Melzergaard. I'm thinking that Melzergaard mostly wins this one just because, he's so much more powerful than him. And, of course, VGS, I don't want to put too much weight on that. But also, Zombie Man is it like a detective, and I think it's fair to say that he would probably figure out the Marvel thing and could destroy it with his weaponry, possibly, but I think that would be giving Zombie Man a little too much credit. So I would say that, like, 6 times out of 10, maybe 7 times out of 10, Melzergaard would win this one. But Zombie Man could definitely pull out the win as well, but it just wouldn't be as likely, I think. ShadowBatX asks, hey, Shonen and the others, I'm back. I was gone because Shonen got jealous and came up with better ideas about Blast, and I was sent to Patreon prison. Then I DM'd him, and I looked like fell in love with me and got out of my cell. However, one of Murata found out I was talking to the legend known as Shonen, and we were scared that I knew too much, and they sent me back to the cell. I've been in here so long that my hair has gotten longer. I've grown a full beard and been working out in my tank top. Anyways, glad to be back. So let's talk about, Blast, a.k.a. the beer worker, a.k.a. the father of Izuku Midoriya. Yeah, maybe put a little smile on my face. Anyways, Blast and his son Blue, doesn't this kind of make Blast more of a bad guy? Because in theory, is that just the reason Blue created the Neo Heroes to form a better heroes to fight for justice? Because he doesn't like the way that Blast is a hero. I'm aware you're going to make a full 50-minute video about Blast and Blue, but hey, throw me a bone here since I've been in Patreon prison for so long. Give me a sneak peek. So definitely not going to be a 50-minute video, but there will be a video, maybe 2. So I think that this is probably angst from Blue. Blue probably doesn't agree with Blast. It's like, I don't care if you're my dad, Blast. I don't like your fundamentals. Being a hero should be serious, and we need to take justice into our own hands, and you're too lackadaisical. And so we do have to remember that Blast was like, being a hero is just a hobby to him, and it's almost questionable why he even really became the forefront of the Hero Association in the first place. And also him retiring, him and his fundamentals of like, don't expect someone coming to save you. So I'm sure that type of mentality conflicts with Blue, who more so wants to be like the legitimate symbol of peace of this world. So that probably is the contrast between their ideologies there. Last question, out of all my Blast aka Bearded Worker AKs, which one do you love the most? Pick 2 of them and tell me why. Also be aware, I know the orders from the old to new, so don't try to pull a fast one. I'm watching you from the shadows like a bat. Anyway, talk to you later. I could be sneaking a letter through my cell. That way one of Murata don't find out. Take care. That butt is fantastic. You know what I mean by that? I've been watching it. I even watch my streams. Thank you, ShadowBatX. I forget what I said that about, but I probably say that butt is fantastic a lot because I do see a lot of fantastic butts. But my 2 favorite ones are Blast, a.k.a. The Beer Worker, a.k.a. God's Human Meat Puppet, and then a.k.a. Yusuke Murata himself. Tetsucabruh asks, hey Z, got a bit of a long one today, so if the heroes in the Monster Association invasion actually switch routes and run into each other's group, what changes? Pig God eats Phoenix Man and unable to resurrect. Hey, I'm on board with that, and if he fights G5, I think he can probably defeat G5 too, because that's like a good matchup for him, because blades work to his advantage because of his thick fat and his regeneration abilities, and he could probably muscle G5 and eat him. ShadowBatX takes the private squad out with an EMP. I don't even think he would need an EMP to take them down, honestly. He could just defeat them with conventional weapons. Same thing with Super S, and then he could probably defeat Fura Ugly with Brave Giant. I don't see why not. Just taking a guess. Drive Knight saves the mercenaries, keeps the suits. No, he would not save them. Drive Knight would totally just decapitate them and take the suits and then blame it on a monster. The surface team safely guides Waganma and the mercenaries. Well, they're going to get there somehow. Puri Puri fights Pure Blood and Homeless Emperor. Puri Puri, man, I think he might be able to defeat Pure Blood if he had his power-ups already. But if he didn't have his power-ups, he'd probably lose. And Homeless Emperor, there's no way Puri can defeat him. Zombie Man fights the Great Food Tub and Gums. Maybe he could defeat the Great Food Tub. Like, if the Great Food Tub ate him, I think Zombie Man could probably hack his way out of his stomach. And then Gums, I think Gums would just defeat Zombie Man via eating him. I don't think he has any outs to that, really. Flash fights Vakuma, Neon, easy wins for him. Darkshine fights the ninjas, easy win for him. My Mask, Bug God, defeats Bug God, and then maybe loses to Garou. And then Darkshine, and then Drive Knight Drive Knight, he's probably just going to peace out of there once he gets the suits. There's no reason for him to stick around unnecessarily, even especially if he got all the information from G5. The Disciples fight Devil Longhair. That's so all that stuff stays the same. Only differences: Saitama runs into Darkshine instead of Flashy. Oh, that would be interesting. And I mean, it would probably play out the same way, but just Darkshine would be way more friendly than Flashy Flash. Atomic probably doesn't need to deal with G5 if Pig God ends up defeating him. Very minor change. So Atomic, I guess, just still loses to Black S then. Additionally, this matchup, what if Death Gatling's crew cornered Stain instead of Garou? Will they still ambush him, but he's not weakened like Garou? If they're too much, just make it Death Gatling, Stinger, Wild Horde, and Shooter. Yeah, I think Death Gatling, Stinger, Wild Horde, and Shooter by themselves could still take down Stain. He is fast, but not fast enough to avoid all of them. And Stinger is probably way more physically powerful than Stain. And then, you know, there's no way that Stain could deal with Death Gatling's bullets, and then, you know, the Shooter with the poison arrows. This is just not a winnable match for Stain. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 124 of my incredible patrons. I hope everyone is staying safe out there and washing their hands. If you would like to be in next week's Q&A, simply check out the Patreon. The $5 tier will give you access to this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.